Now, I think for us, it's going to be somewhat later than that, or a lot later than that for ninth grade. But some general questions to reflect on. Within the districts, here's our norms that we need to take an inquiry stance. That when we do have these meetings, we need to start in on time. Any statements that we make need to be based on evidence. You need to really be here when you're in these meetings. Assume positive intention and take responsibility for impact. Expect non-closure, and stick to protocol and hearing all voices. Expect discomfort in the service of learning. So these are kind of the norms that the district is following for all of these kinds of meetings, and the intent is to just share them with you. Video conferencing etiquettes. A lot of us are doing this, but here they are. Be on time, headphones if you got them. Mute yourself. Chat responsibly. Use signals. Consider your surroundings when you participate. Just video conferencing etiquette, because we're going to be doing a lot of it. Then they kind of put up for framing of reference, what is the district's mission and vision? All the buildings have to be following the mission and vision. And the department should be following the buildings which are following the district. The mission of the Rochester City School District is to provide a quality education that ensures our students graduate with the skills to be successful in a democratic society and the global economy. The vision, every child by face and name, every classroom, every school, to and through graduation. And of course, for our building, we've been working on it. There's been some emails out there. Some of us have participated in them around Edison's mission and vision, which of course should roll into the district. We need to have some targets. Every department has targets. A lot of this is from the data-wise format that we've been following. Literally what we're looking to do is to have a focus area, a priority question, some learner-centered problem that we're looking to address, some problems of practice, an action plan, and how can we assess the progress. Those 3 through 7 steps are something that the whole building is doing. I placed this document out there in the shared drive so you can go out there and take a look at this, and we can talk more about this. I'm just kind of walking you through this presentation to get to where I wanted to get to. So this is in there for each of the respective department areas. What are Edison's receivership targets, particularly those that deal with math? This is us. This is what we're accountable for. I'm not going to really get into it now, but we've talked about, you guys have looked at, we would have needed 14 more, targeted 14 more students to meet this particular number 67. However, I have no idea what the lack of a Regents exam does to that. I don't know if the can is kicked down the road, or we get a pass, or what. But that will become clear with some time.
Sam, I can tell you that this year for Edison and all receivership schools in New York State, it's like a wash. Things pick back up next year. That's been determined by the state education.
Okay.
What the targets will be, we don't know, but this is unprecedented time, so that has been shared with districts in New York State this week.
Very good. those are more just data and action points that we were looking at. Particularly the math ones are of interest. And I know we were talking, how are we going to do 126 more students? So I'm just sharing you what this PowerPoint has in it. I wanted to delete that slide, I didn't. Here is our focus. So a lot of the stuff that we're doing in instructional council and a lot of the actions, and again, this is prior to all this stuff going on. Everything that we were doing was to take a look at data to drive our instruction and follow this data-wise process, come up with an action plan, get an action, do action around it, see what the results are, feed back into that loop, and continue toward improvement using data to do that. Sharing that process with you, just kind of walking through this. Respective people's roles, the admin and team leader, understanding the next generation. These are overviews and learning targets for a lot of stuff around the next generation standards. So my assumption is we will be moving forward with doing a lot of things within this district and within the state around the next generation standards. This is just an initial process, and if you haven't been thinking about it or looking at it, we as a department, we as a building, and we as a district have to be doing that. And again, part one, learning targets. I can explain how the next generation standards are going to shift instruction and the curriculum to support all learners. I can locate and use a variety of the tools to support instruction, including the resources. I can design instruction to meet the needs of all of my students. I can explain next generation standards by content. I can draft a next generation standard rollout plan for our building. So some of those things are things that the instructional council and maybe some of you will be a part of in the oncoming months. It says, we invite you to participate in both small and large group discussions by listening and contributing. Literally what they want us to do is, excuse me, is to look at getting engaged in the next generation standards. Specifically for math, for this department, and other departments will be doing it for other areas. They had us actually looking to share with you an activity. I'm not going to so much share that as we'll kind of walk through it. Think about how you would complete these statements. What are standards and what are not standards? I mean, we have a lot of ideas of what a standard is and a lot of ideas about what a standard is not. They wanted us to jot these things down on some paper, but here's some thoughts. Standards are the knowledge, skills, and understanding that individuals mutually demonstrate over time through instruction and learning experiences. Their educational expectations. What a student should know and be able to do independently by the end of each grade. Standards are what they're not. Instructional strategies, choices in literature or tasks, problematic designs or curriculum, things that standards are, and things that standards are not. So this is part of probably about you see slide 17, it's probably about 80 or 90 slides. I'm kind of not going to walk through all of these. I just kind of wanted to jump through some of them We will do some more activities a little bit later, but again, follows up with some definitions, follows up with some phases. And I'm gonna just kind of share with that, put that up and let's take a look at it. So we were kind of, awareness was raised probably a year ago. Summer, we would have been looking at professional development. Phase 3, now this all may be adjusted or somewhat, I'm not sure. Phase 3 would have been starting in this September. Notice that new grades 3 through 8 testing measurements would have started in the spring of 2021. We are here. A more detailed math timeline. It talks about when the regions in Algebra 1 would be, when the regions were, or regions for geometry 20 would be in 2022. For Algebra 2 would be 2023. Time frames they were looking. Now, I don't know if all this stuff gets shifted by a year or what. I'm just sharing this plan. Yes.
Yeah, can you go back to that one? That whole thing is back a year now. So
okay.
Algebra 1 won't even be a new test till 2023.
Okay.
So we've got time.
Okay. Where do I find the next generation ELM, or for us, math standards? And what I'm just sharing with you, I put them out there on that shared drive. You can feel free to go and go to NewYorkStateEd.gov, and it kind of talks through how to find that in that document. So if you want to get a lot more detail, feel free to go there. And it talks about it, but also, if you go to this document, it's a PDF. I'm just going to open it. And there are probably, this is not the one I want. But literally there's probably a couple hundred pages. So it's pretty extensive. All I wanted to do is just kind of introduce you to what the math next generation standards are, that I've kind of compiled them, put them out there, that you can go and look through that stuff. And we will probably, I'm going to take some lead from the instructional council about where they want us to go. But there's a number of activities that they want us to do with our respective departments. That is all that I had for, we're at 45 minutes, kind of the time frame I want to look for in doing these meetings. That's all that I had planned. Does anybody else have anything that they'd like to add before we close out? Nope, I'm good. Well, everyone stay safe and I know as we plan these meetings, if you can't be here, that's fine. I mean, I know I'm doing 2 or 3 Zoom meetings on Thursdays and Fridays. And some of us have little ones in the background. So there are a lot of things that are going on, and that's fine. If you need any information, feel free to reach out to me. My phone number is there. Shoot me an email or a text. And you've heard Bob say if you got questions, feel free to reach out to him. If there isn't anything else, we'll end this for today. Have a great weekend, as much as you can.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter.
Sam, happy belated birthday.
Okay, bye everybody. Happy Easter.
Happy birthday.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Take care, everybody.
Bye guys. Hey.
See ya.
Hi.
I am by.